Oh, man.
Woo! We're here. We're back. We're live. We're coming at you. The John and Agnew Show. Dishes are done, man. Got to work on that intro. Agnew, you've been gone for like 3 weeks. But before we left our last show, you asked me a question, and I'm going to ask you to ask me it again so I can make sure that I'm not remembering it incorrectly, as I often do. It was something about what is the niche or what is the next niche, as in like, the super popular thing that everybody tries to imitate.
I think I was asking, oh man. I mean, you're asking me to remember 3 weeks ago.
It's fine.
I think it was like, I think we were just like kind of talking about like podcasts in general and like
how there's like millions
where they're at, and you kind of need like a little bit of a change, like a little bit of a certain thing that you're hitting on, right? Like, so we kind of touch on like movies and things like that. And so I think we were trying to think of like what would be like the niche for like some of them are like niche within a niche, right? It's like like comics explained is kind of like telling comics, but then it's also kind of like that guy's personality a bit more than, because like there's also other ones that just read comics. Right. So,
right. Rob has like characteristics. He's not just reading. He does like his gimmicks, and he'll stop midway and be like, "Remember when this happened? Let me tell you something, man."
And then he'll go off, and it won't even be right. Like some of the stuff
I get a little frustrated.
And you're like, it's all right. Like it's.
Sometimes he gets on tangents, and I'm like, "Yeah, but how did it end? How did that story end?"
Oh, the worst is when he makes those compilation ones, and then you watch one but it's only cut together like it was separate videos. So it's like, all right, so next time. And then it's like, it's next time. I'm like, I don't have the energy.
I'm like,
to do another one.
He needs an intern to go in there and like clean all that up. Like, I was like, gosh, this is awesome. 8 hours. But I'm like, wait a minute. I think I heard this part already. And it was recorded, what sounded like on a different recording device before Rob hit puberty.
Yeah. So the niche, I don't know. What niche did you come up with?
Well, I didn't come up with like what the next niche is or what the niche is, but I did come up with two undeniable factors. They don't have to both be present, but one of them must be present for you to be a person that creates a niche, which, people usually always create
a bad haircut one of them? Because we've got that going.
That's why I got a hat on. That's why I always wear a hat. And then sometimes I've made videos where I didn't wear a hat, and I'm like, okay. So the number one thing, and this isn't necessary, but it's just so undeniable. You have to have looks or have some sort of, look to you. You can't look like somebody else. And number two, you have to be like unapologetically, and no one is trying to water down your authenticity. I think now, more than ever now, but probably always, you had to have some kind of authenticity to you, to where you weren't even trying to sell yourself.
I definitely like agree with that part.
That's as far as I got.
No. Both good points, and I think you're talking more like in like the YouTube space, like the podcasting space and stuff, right?
I'm just talking about whoever is like the person that's trending, that's like setting. Like Rogan is so unique because like he doesn't do a niche, but like that is the niche that he's. Anybody can come on his show.
Yeah, I think anybody who gets to the point of having like FU money, like you can kind of do whatever you want, right? Like, so if a billionaire wanted to start like their own show, they could just do that, right? They probably wouldn't, but I mean, like, Rogan is a good example of. I think he just kind of stayed the course. I think he had his. I think he was also in circles that were leading him to other people that were interesting people. Like, I think the reason that his podcast got so successful was because he was able to bring guests on that were interesting. Even like, you know, he was surrounded by comics, so he always had a plethora of comics that could stop by, and those are always the most interesting people in the
Right.
world.
Always a hit.
And then, you know, somebody had, you know, like a theory here and a theory there. I think, but he also does a really good job interviewing. Like I don't think it's just because he had a pool to
I
dig
think that's
into.
everything. That's what separates him from all these other imitators, is that he just shuts up. You know, he lets the person go.
Yeah.
He doesn't stomp all over them.
And I think his is a kind of a good example of like low production value too. I mean, I think he's kind of,
Right.
it's been amped up now, right? But
But still.
like earlier on, it was just kind of like cheap mics and
Yeah.
a desk, you know,
Yeah.
and it was just, it was really easy. I think there's a really tough step to get through as far as like interviewing people. You know, I feel like that's, man, I don't even know. Like that's something I'm struggling with right now because I'd put that on an agenda to like break into with finding the line. Like I was going to either get like, you know, because I've got a lot of universities around here. There's lots of people probably doing some interesting research.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Dude.
like every kid's parent is like doing a
Agnew lives in
PhD.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, I live in Philly. We're running the East Coast crowd here. But, you know, a lot of them are PhD students and stuff, and they're super intelligent. And they really want to talk about their topic. So, like, if you go out to dinner with them, they want to talk about their theorem or whatever. And I find it pretty darn interesting because it's nothing like what I'm doing, you know? And so,
Absolutely. And it's like maybe at a time I was just like, I can't understand all that. But I think like it's so neat now because there was all this shit that they were trying to teach me in school. And I was just like, I don't care. I just don't care. But now I care. And I'm like, oh, I can learn it. You know, like we have this tool that can like teach me. It's incredible.
Yeah. And if you're just talking with a person who does it, you know, then you can you can go the Harry Potter route of, all right, I'm sitting down, tell me, you know, astrophysics, go, you know, and just hit me with it. And the person can read you and see how much you're absorbing. And if you're starting to glaze over and just start moving back, you know, it's like, all right, we don't need to go that far into it, you know?
Yeah. Well, so you want to interview the students?
Well, they're
Not just the students.
they're
but
like
you
old.
wanna interview.
They're not. I mean, they're PhD students, so they're like our age. They're not like young kids running around. I mean, that would be fine too. I don't really care. But just having the balls to like email somebody and be like, hey,
I
want to
know.
talk on a podcast that no
I-
one's
I
listening
know,
to,
I
right? Like you will
know.
get nothing out of this. Like nothing. Like that. That's the other. That's like kind of the
Yeah, you want to
catalyst
help?
that
You want
Rogan
to
has,
contribute
right?
to my hobby?
Yeah. And maybe they do. Like maybe they do. I mean, we had interviews on the John and Agnew show, you know, with like comedians and
Yeah.
things like that. You know, like those were pretty special. You know,
It's
but
a
even that
weird
was really
thing.
hard.
It's a weird thing. It's like it is kind of exciting because I asked this person who this Heather's best friend, her parents. I'm like trying to connect with them, having a hard time. And but I found out the mom is like this like rocker. She sings in like a band.
Oh,
And I
that's
was
awesome.
like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. I didn't know there were anybody, I didn't know anybody else got up on stage and did anything. I was like, do you want to come on my podcast and like tell me about it? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't feel like doing it. I swear, dude, that's my whole life. It's like
You had all the steps.
unbelievable.
You had all the steps. It was just push the domino over, and
And it was like, that's all I really wanted to do was just see if they would say yes.
well,
And it's like, all right. And I'm like waiting for her to be like, yo, remember like 6 months ago when you asked me to be on your podcast? And I'm going to be like, oh, it takes a long time to set everything up.
I got to clear the schedule. You know,
I got to talk to producers and,
Yeah.
and lighting people and dolly grips.
they'll be contacting you. My people will talk.
You
to
have an
your
agency, right? Your band has a representative.
people. Who are you sponsored by? I don't want our sponsors to conflict.
But I
I
thought
don't want you
about
to be
like
sponsored by HelloFresh while I'm trying to
Chewy.
yeah.
I wanted to do something like that, Agnew, where I went on Facebook and was like, if you grew up with me and you want me and you would, if you want to partake in like an interview series about people who knew me when I was little, just let me know and just see if like 10 people would be like, I'll do it, and just
It's not a bad
be
way
like,
to get started. Yeah.
what did you think of me when we were young, and just get like punched in the face with like unexpected reality.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure most people would be polite about it, but I think it would be kind of like um
I bet I'd find one Steve Buscemi in Billy Madison.
oh
There'd be one lipstick
yeah.
death
Just
list, hit list.
no, the but it would be kind of a good start. I mean, it's like it might be, some throwaway
Right. It's almost like
episodes,
a practice.
right? But it would be kind of a practice, and you'd get the training wheels on, and
I
and
always
and
remember.
and that would be kind of a tough one to actually make super interesting because not that I don't think like the responses would be good, but I think like I think at some point you wouldn't want it to be all about you, right?
No,
You'd want it to
I would
be
just
more
get the
about that
ball rolling.
person. And then it's like people sharing things, right? Like
Yeah.
I think people are kind of scared to talk also nowadays, They'll talk
Yes.
to you, but as soon as you put a microphone there, people are trained to know that everything digital is forever, right? Like
Recorded.
everything digital. So if they say something dumb or
There is
especially
a
when it's
filter.
broadcast.
There is like a filter. It's like people now like we like adapted. We are adapted. We like evolved to have this like kind of filter where you don't really give it all away.
Yeah.
Well, if you're smart, you don't really give it all away because you're just so used to it now.
Yeah. And that makes it really tough.
Yeah.
All giving it
Right.
all away. Yeah, that's a good
Right.
point. No,
But
I think that's yeah, interviewing's kind of tough. Getting the interview, like you got the interview,
yeah,
so
no.
I envy you for that.
Yeah. But I think the interview is the fun and easy part, and you never get to it all. That was always like the thing. Like when we had like Sean Kanan from Karate Kid and the dude who played Yeah Yeah from Sandlot on the podcast, I wanted to just get Clark out of there, like disconnect him because he was just not. He was just extra nonsense, and I was like, dude, I have grown up thinking about this person. Like I have so many
Right.
things to slam them with that isn't weird at all. It's just about making the movies that they were in.
Yeah.
Like all the behind the scenes shit. That's like all I wanted to get into.
Sure.
And Clark was just, what he was doing.
Yeah.
It's tough.
But I mean, like that's what I mean. Like you kind of need to set up the framework, and then I think about
Mm-hmm.
when you're going to interview somebody, like, are they then going to go back and listen to earlier episodes to know what they're getting into, right?
Right.
So if like you've got a real, and I think we had that with John Agnew show when it was all four of us, it started becoming this like, I'll say like, morning radio show esque type thing where it was like whatever the current topic was is the topic we were talking about, and everybody was
Yes.
sort of playing a character in it, and we were all like reacting, and I feel like we were kind of more like the straight men in it, like as far
It's so
as
funny. I like don't I like can't remember uh like that much from it. I mean, like I remember all the like important things,
yeah.
but I'm like, how did it like go, and how the hell did we fit all four of us in that?
It was a bit chaotic. Listening
It
back to
was
the
funny.
audio quality
That's
bothers
why it
me.
was
Like I can't.
important. That was why it was important that we had segments where it was like one person was kind of like the like side host kind of. So
Yeah,
it like had some kind of order. Like when you would do the words and DeWitt would do Twitter and I would do Cool or Lame.
yeah,
That's when I feel like when he would do the word origin, I think those were the funniest things. Like the segments that I listened to like more than once and would be laughing out loud like to myself.
they're just they were a lot of fun. They were really tough, and I think yeah,
It was such a good idea. I mean, it's kind of endless.
It's
But yeah,
sort of
you do have to
endless.
put some more. Oh,
You
right, it
really
gets
need to,
harder.
yeah, yeah. After like the first four,
It's
then
like a suicide league, or what is it? You know, like in football in the NFL, a suicide pool, where it's like you just pick one winner each week. So like in the beginning, you pick like all the good team, like the Chiefs and the Eagles,
yeah,
and like around week 6, you're like, oh god,
yeah, right.
this is all really
Yeah,
close.
no, it's definitely like some easy picking in the beginning because there's like one website you find and it's like, here's this, here's this. What I found that worked best for it was to just go into the thesaurus or dictionary and just find a good word, you know, and then kind of bend the origin of it. So make sure the word had some sort of Latin phrase, you know, origin that was like just enough to make your brain kind of trigger it. But then look,
That's like a slippery slope.
and then I would look up the actual definition, right? And make sure I wasn't giving the actual definition or giving the actual like origin of it
Right.
to make sure I was giving a wrong answer. Like that was actually the hardest part because sometimes I would look at it and for some reason I'd be like an idiot savant and be like, oh, well, that's like a toenail on a dinosaur or something like that. And it would turn out that that is a toenail on a dinosaur. And I'd be like, oh, well,
Right. You had like
where did I get that from?
you had like 4 shots of espresso poured over ice, and you were like, I don't know, I don't know.
I don't know what happened. I blacked out.
My brain went to the future and grabbed that from when I looked it up and learned it.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
but that was, yeah, I did enjoy that segment. That was fun.
yeah, it was great. And then you know what I remembered like yesterday or maybe even today, I thought about it, just popped in my head out of nowhere. I like heard a word and it like made me remember. Oh, somebody said, oh, it was the Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash has a podcast. And it's pretty good. It's him and this like professional broadcaster. I don't know who he is, but they're like friends. And he kind of like runs it and then Nash, fills it in. And they were watching like old clips of Mean Gene Okerlund when he would break because the wrestlers like cutting the promo backstage would like go off and he like wouldn't be able to hold it in.
Yeah.
And Sergeant Slaughter was like going nuts. And they're watching this one where Sergeant Slaughter and Mean Gene actually walks off camera. And at one point, Sergeant Slaughter goes, "On our soil." And I remembered the prank phone call when I was like, "Are they making those cars on American soil?" And the guy was like, "Canada." And I was like, "Canada."
Canada.
But that prank call was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
That was like that was like a Zen moment.
It was good. I mean, I think we were like I don't know if we would have kept going from what was it like 2009 or whatever. Like if we had kept going straight through, if it would have gained popularity or not, we probably would have got better at it, and the technology would have finally caught up, right? Because I was using applications and wires that were just buzzing. I still remember the buzzing, but it was like the only way to kind of connect everything together.
And a lot of what I did on the podcast is what I like wanted to do with the John and Agnew show, but like, I didn't know, and I don't even think the shit was available. Like take sound clips, like we would do it in the show live, but I wanted to drop them in
Like
randomly, like
yeah,
in post,
yeah,
like
like
after,
in Europe and things like that.
right?
Right.
And Amy Lutz
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So, but so where the hell were you?
Yeah, we've been traveling a lot. So when we planned out the summer, we kind of looked at the summer, and this was like kind of the first one where our youngest was old enough to start going to camps, which is great until you look at the price of camps.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, all right, so 2 kids in this camp for the week, like some of the camps are cheaper, some of the camps are more expensive. And we were kind of looking at some of the camps and I'm like, well, what's the difference between this and going on vacation? Right? Like, I mean, like this is basically the same cost as going on a vacation. So why don't we just plan, like if we have the time, let's just plan some vacations now, And then we also scheduled some, we called on the grandparents and we're like, hey, will you take a week, with the kids? and have grandparent camp, and we'll get them to you. And then
Who?
you just
Your
have to
parents?
mine, hers, yeah, like
Yeah.
both sides. We just called them up at the beginning at in April, and we're like, hey, can we take a week? You know,
And they were like, sure.
we did a trial run. We did like a 4-day trial run with my parents, and it went really well. And the kids were like super exhausted. Like we were just getting pictures of them passed out on couches with like, the Agnew red face, like just like kind of like zonked out. I'm like, all right. And they didn't call us once. They didn't call us. Like they never said they were sad or wanted to come home. So it was like,
Oh
great.
my God.
So we organized this summer to be like a few trips. So we took the trip to Houston to go see Kelly's sister and Kev, and that was great. That was the first time on a plane with the kids. So the kids had never been on a plane before. Ruby had
Oh.
when she was younger, but Leo hadn't. So he was very excited to go
Was he
fast.
good? Like he wasn't scared?
Yeah, no, he was pumped for it. I mean, he's gotten into NASCAR.
Nice.
We were cleaning up in the other room the one day, and I was like, all right, let me put something on the TV. So I didn't want to put on like another like kids movie, so I'm like, let me find some sports or something to put on. And it was like hockey, like I don't know why hockey was on, but it was like hockey and NASCAR, and I was like, well, he loves cars and stuff, so I'll just put NASCAR on. And he was like full 4 hours, completely zoned in,
No way.
like was studying the like
The
who's taking a
drafting.
stop, like who's in what place, and
Pits.
it was, yeah, like when are they going to get new tires, like if there's a crash, like what's the caution mean, like he was like in it, and every commercial break he would go over and just race the cars. So he's got a little slot car, like electric track, so he just like raced the cars, and then he'd be like, oh, it's back on, and he was pumped.
That's
So,
awesome.
and our work, I think they do it just like a little bit now, but they actually used to have a car. And so
Oh yeah.
so they had Daniel Suarez raced for
He was the racer.
he was the racer,
Driver.
and he still is. He still races. So he had some like signed memorabilia and stuff that I had given him a while back, and he never even like registered what it was. So I was like, hey, look, here's a
Oh.
NASCAR hat, and it's signed, and like
And
with
he's like,
that with that
what?
racer, and he's like, that racer right there. And so then he was just following him, like, oh, he's in 19th, oh, he's in 18th, oh, he's in 19th, oh, he's in 18th, he's in 18th, he's in 16th. He's going nuts.
What an amazing sport for a kid if they can follow that enough. It's
Yeah.
always changing. It's like never the same.
So it was, so
Wow.
that was pretty big. So when we went on the flight, it was like, he was like, we're going fast. Yeah. And like super pumped. Ruby was funny. This
I
drove
hate
my
flying.
anxiety crazy, because she would, every time there was the, what do you call it? The turbulence,
Mhm.
she would go, whoa, whoa, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to make like somebody like explode. Like, cause she was being completely like, just like, hey, this is kind of fun. Like she was acting like it was a carnival ride, but
I
she's going up and down
know.
going, whoa.
They're like, ooh, that was scary. It's like we could all crash and die. You have no idea. This thing's gonna go down because of you're not taking it seriously enough. You're gonna crash us.
So I tried to shift my brain, because my brain was like my inner brain was like, stop it, like I wanted it to end. But then I was also thinking, I'm like, well, like also screw people. Like I don't never,
Doesn't
like, again,
it
the thing,
doesn't
like, you're
matter.
never gonna see these people ever again, except for like everywhere in the hallway after this. But as soon as you get out of here, like, you're never gonna see them again. You can easily lose them in the bathroom after a moment. So I was just like, I just kind of let her go, and
Dude.
and enjoyed watching everyone's reaction around her, like, ooh, ooh.
Oh, so okay. So you were like, this is gonna piss other people off, Ruby. Like, stop.
Yeah. I was I was very, Yeah, because my
I thought it was just freaking you out. Like,
no, no, I don't
that
care.
we are not here to goof around. This is a plane.
No, not like
I'm gonna explode.
Robbie, like
That's how
yeah,
I
no,
am.
no, no. Oh, really?
Yo, my dude, my nerves are just blasting. The second we start driving to the airport, and then till like a day after we land,
I mean, the
I'm
chaos
just the
of the
worst.
airport, like the ride itself doesn't seem to bother me. Like the once I'm
Right,
like in the seat,
that's true.
it's
Tucked
like,
in, can't go
especially
anywhere.
as a dad, like I'm like, all right, like I'm like, I don't. You just
Everybody's here.
get when you get the dad card, you're like, all right, you are now in charge of luggage, spiders, and any other gross thing that appears in front of them on a sidewalk,
And
and
doubling up on beer is totally fine.
yeah, yep,
Love
that's
to,
your pass. You're allowed to just beer it up,
yes.
and yeah. So like once I get in the seat, I'm good. But like the actual airports this time, and I hadn't obviously been in an airport for a while, but it was like it just seemed like so much stuff was like under construction and like and all of the food was just bad. Like if there's
Okay.
anything that I feel like an airport needs to do, like it should just have good coffee, right? Like if there's anything an airport should have, it should just be like good, quick coffee. And you
Right.
know what? Go nuts with the price. Have a blast. I don't care. But the problem is, you
Exactly.
go to like a La Colombe or you go to I hate Starbucks, but normally there's only a Starbucks or
I
something like
know
that.
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, give me more than one. It can't just be a fucking monopoly.
Yeah. Or a Dunkin', right?
Right.
But then it's like somehow it's all the same. I'm like, how does it taste like the same rainwater? You know,
Gravel.
like
Gravel.
dirty gravel puddle water.
It's
I'm like
right
this,
where Pennywise is.
yeah, right.
It's that collected
Yeah,
into
he's
a
like,
cup,
everyone
warmed up.
floats down here.
Hey,
That'll be
Georgie.
that'll be $5.50.
Georgie.
My name's John.
Yeah, we're all Georgie.
We're all Georgie. Um, so yeah, I mean the airport was not fun, and I was actually standing in line for waiting for coffee. I remember this. There's like a coffee thing in the Philly airport where there's like a coffee stand and the information desk is right next to it. And so if you're waiting
Stupid.
in line for coffee, you're basically somehow the information desk as well. So a lot of people traveling internationally will
No.
come up to you while you're in, like if you're the person who's right in front of the eye, like the information symbol, it was hilarious because we were all just like standing in this line waiting for coffee, and people would be like, oh, like where, they'd hold up a map and be like, oh, and you'd be like, oh, the bathroom's that way, and they're like, gracias. And then they'd like head off, and then as the line moved up, everybody behind me was now the information desk, and it was just this constant thing. So funny. I was like, oh, I see a major design flaw in the airport. Like,
Dude, that's another thing. I swear, as like a dad, right? Like in a lot of scenarios, you are kind of like just, you're like doing this behind them all, and you're seeing way more,
yeah,
and you're like, oh, I'm like observing like three steps down, and sometimes like it's like you predict the future. They fall or they trip where you saw it going, and you just don't stop it and you just let it happen.
yeah.
The rare times that
Well,
I
you have to like
control myself.
decide whether to. That's the trouble. You're like, all right, like if I catch them, are they going to be weak and like not be able to fight some boss later in their lives, or like, and
Some fall.
or is it going to be a Marty McFly moment and they're going to skin their knee and then like all of a sudden this bully comes up to them in high school and they just knock them out? Like I'm like, I don't know.
I know it's like
Or their leg completely breaks and now they're on crutches. Like I don't.
then I have to go to the ER.
Yeah, I have to go to the ER and then I yell at somebody along the way and that scares them and then they move out of the house and hate me for the rest of my life. Like these are the things.
Dude, yesterday, like I had like a moment, a chain of events that I'll never forget the rest of my life.
Lemony snick it.
Like I sucked in so much air into my lungs to yell at Charlie
Oh,
because it was just so. I pick up Hannah 2 days a week from school. I drop her off every day, but I pick her up 2 days. And I picked her up, or no. So yesterday, for some reason, yesterday wasn't one of the days that I pick her up. Her grandmom picks her up. Heather's mom picks her up.
Don't need a full schedule.
And I know,
in case anyone's tailing you.
I don't want to get tangled in this because it's so unimportant. Bottom line is, both girls were home when I got home, and Heather wasn't.
Okay.
Because Heather had something else. She wasn't gonna be home for like an hour. So I've got an hour to kill. And so I'm like, let's go to the pool. Because they love the pool. They ask me every day.
Sure.
I say yes 98% of the time. And today I was like not wanting to, but always in the back of my head, I'm like, they're gonna ask. And if they do, I'll just give it. So they did. So we go and we're having a good time. And then out of the corner, we're there for like a minute, and it's just the three of us, and we're in the steps, and we're just talking and playing and just getting in. And this little girl comes walking over with swimmies on. And Hannah and I know this little girl. Rewind to Monday when Hannah and I planned. I was like, yo, bud, I'm going to pack your bathing suit and mine. I'm going to pick you up from school, and we're going to go right to the pool. Because last time we went home to get changed, and then Charlie wanted to come, and it exploded. It turned into a huge mess.
You fast track. Yeah.
Right. So Hannah and I were there just by ourselves, and this girl in the swimmies and life vest, who's about 3, comes walking over.
Like the swimmies would work against the life vest, but whatever. Okay.
I
think they tell you, like, don't just pick one. Pick one. Don't do both. You'll flip upside down and bob with your feet up in the air or something.
Or you'll sink right to the bottom. So she comes over and
save yourself.
And she's kind of weird, like, but like typical friendly 3-year-old. She goes, "Hi, my name's Murphy. What's yours?" And Hannah goes, "I'm Hannah." And she goes, "Hi, my name's Murphy. What's yours?" And Hannah looks at me, and I go, "Cyborg." Right there.
It's a good name for it. It's RoboCop's name. So
it's a moment where I just made a joke to myself, to my daughter. I knew she wouldn't get it. And so she was kind of silly, and she was like kind of like getting too close. Like the personal space thing is just such a massive pet peeve. So that's
wait. Your personal space or this little girl's personal space with Hannah?
With my kids, other kids with my kids.
Oh,
like it's just
in the
strange. Pool, just in life.
Don't get them in jiu-jitsu.
Just in general,
there is no personal space. That's like
that's where it's understandable. I think the whole point is to like eliminate personal space. And
that one eliminates. You share smells, I think, in that one.
It's just too much. Too many groins close.
I'm not saying you have to.
I did. I tried for like 2 days.
No, you tried jiu-jitsu? I can't do it. My shoulders would be out in 2 seconds. I'm like, you win.
I wrestled this kid who I swear was bit by a radioactive spider because he was 17, dude, and he was so much stronger than me. I was like, I'm useless. Like, if we go down like an apocalypse, zombies, I'm done.
But 17-year-olds won't organize like that. That's the thing. You don't have to worry about 17-year-olds. They're going to be like, this is dumb.
But anyway, after like 50 minutes of that, I came home and sat on the couch, and like my fingertips were throbbing. I was like, no way.
Yeah. There's a point in our lives, and luckily Kelly told me when that was, where we're not allowed to like kickball and
physical combat,
recreational things besides like observed workouts or not. Like, because I would just be like on the couch with like a swollen knee for 2 weeks after every game. It's like, oh, well, good thing the next game isn't for 2 weeks because I can't move.
Right.
Because every moment I would just give my all. Like
you played like you were 13.
Yeah, I was playing like it was not just that I was 13, but that it was like, game 7 of the World Series, and like it was a no-hitter or something. Like I'm diving for triple plays while people are just like sipping Miller Lite on the sidelines. I'm like, You
How
know,
can
I'm
you
like,
drink that?
I'm
Get
throwing.
serious.
Yeah, I was throwing balls to people that weren't at the base yet. I'm like, get there. Like
I remember the first hit in softball when I joined like a softball league down here, and I like hit a grounder, and I ran so hard and so fast down that first baseline that like when I stomped my right foot on the base, my like quad blew out. I was like, I can't walk.
yeah,
I
you were like Ryan
can't play
Howard at
anymore.
the Yankees World Series, right? You're just like, I'm
Yeah, I
out
was
for
like,
the season.
broken.
Good thing that was it.
Yeah, right. Good thing we lost now. So, so this girl's weird, and she's kind of like just in hanging out, and I'm like,
I mean, she's 3, right? Like you have to give her like some leeway here, right? It's like,
right,
okay,
right, and all
but she's
this,
getting
all
too
this is
close.
going on in my head, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know how to behave here. I'm just kind of be friendly, but like, don't touch my kid. And Hannah's like Heather, like she's like the world's biggest pushover, dude. Like she just can't be like, get off. She like can't do that. So I have to kind of like,
Is she, no,
make
is she
sure
floating too, or is she swimming, or like is she
Hannah's like
standing?
kind of
Like,
standing there. We're like in the
okay,
3'3", and the
all right,
girl's like on the steps.
got it.
So like that was going on, and the mom is like doing laps, and like occasionally being like, Murphy, give them space, and I'm like, but Hannah's so amazing that she just like kind of like figures out a way to like play with the kid and like get along with her. And
That's great. Yeah,
I'm like, all right, whatever. But I was kind of pissed, but I let it go. So now here we are yesterday, and this same girl is there, and her same mom is doing her laps, and the dad is laying on one of the lounge chairs, and their son is also just running around the pool. And Murphy comes up to
shouldn't run
us.
around the pool.
I know. I would
It's
say
against the rules.
don't run.
Okay.
And Murphy comes back over to, and Hannah and Charlie are jumping in to me, and then they're going back, and she comes up and just like puts her arm around Charlie and is like, "This is my little sister." And Hannah just is like cracking up, and she's like, "Murphy, that's my sister." And it was really funny, like hilarious, but I was like, "This is not funny at all." But of course, I was just like, ah. Those 4, my 2 kids and the brother and sister, and this other random kid, they all kind of like all 5 of them, they all kind of like start playing together, which was great. But like Charlie can't swim perfectly,
Yeah,
and she can't touch the bottom anywhere. So I'm kind of like having to be like this like floater of hers as she like jumps off the ledge into the pool with all the kids. It was really crazy. It was like they all just like became friends in like a matter of like 30 seconds.
that's how it works. Yeah,
I was like, I guess that's what it was like. Uh, but the whole time I'm holding in just unbelievable anger because these kids are just not hearing me when I'm like, guys, just be careful with Charlie. She can't swim great yet. Just be careful. And she's getting knocked under, and I'm trying to jump over these kids to like pull her out, and she's choking and throwing up just the chlorine, just the pool water.
yeah, not enough to shut down the pool.
And these parents are just not even, it's like they throw the swimmy and the vest on the girl and they just check out and just let another parent. So that's just driving me insane. And also just driving me insane is I didn't come to the pool to play with other kids. I came to play, like, this hour in the pool is like my favorite part of like the year
Yeah,
that I have. And it's not to be muddled with uninvited guests,
yeah.
especially other kids. But it was
Well,
like they're doing such an amazing thing and like restoring faith in humanity or whatever that I just, didn't stop it. But inside I was just so fucking angry at these parents. I was like, yo, be involved in this, like help me in some way, because I don't know how to yell at your kid another way
yeah,
other than what I've been saying over and over and over.
yeah. No, I know that feeling. We sometimes get that not at the pool so much because it's like a membership pool, so everybody's kind of like a bit more chill, I guess. But when we're at the like the park and the big kids come over to the playground where they're way too big for the playground, that's like 13-year-olds, like,
I look
you
at them.
know, and they like climb on top of things and then like swing down. It's like the 6-year-olds have nowhere to go. It's like, I like what's happening right now? Like, where is somebody?
I,
But
dude,
so I know the anger then.
one time Hannah and I were at the park and there were like 3 dudes and they all had phones and I like looked at them and they were like up by the slides and there's 2 slides and Hannah wanted to slide on one of them and I was like, and the one kid looked at me and he goes, let's get out of here, guys. And they all like went down the slide and he looked back at me and I was like, dude, I was going to say no girls, or like, what's going on? What are you doing here? And he was like, yeah, man, we're leaving. I was like, okay.
Well, that seems like a good, like,
I know. Yeah. No, these kids in this neighborhood,
Side
dude,
eye.
it's insane. We have these ponds every day. They're all lined up fishing.
oh,
I'm like, whoa, I need to shake these parents' hands because they're not like at home, staring at a screen. They're fishing.
we did have a good moment on the right before we left. Leo got they were taking swimming lessons and they got the band. So I got called, like I was at home cooking dinner and it was like, hey, come to the pool. And I'm like, no, I'm cooking dinner. And it's like, no, come to the pool. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I got there and Leo was like, hey, what's up, Dad? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. And then he's just like, oh, I guess I'll just walk over here. And he walked over to the diving board area and just like jumped in the water. And I'm like, hey, you're not allowed in there. And he's like, I got the band, So he was like super pumped. And when you get the band, you get to go off the springboard.
Right. The diving tank.
The only problem is the springboard from the outside looks like immense fun. But when you actually get out on the springboard, even when I went out on it the
I
first time, I'm like,
remember, man. I was
I want to climb back. I'm 40 and I'm like, I want to go
I
back.
think I just wanted the band.
Yeah,
I didn't really want to dive.
I achieved it. Yeah, I mean, because you get out there and it's like, am I 1,000 feet up in the air right now? And this thing is not steady.
There was a wind gust.
So
Is there a hurricane now?
it was so funny because he got to the end of it and he's like just looking at the water. I'm like, jump. And he's like, my knees won't let me. Whoa. He's like, I want to. I really, really want to. Like he was saying this on the edge. It was so funny. And
He's like, my body is like, nah.
there's this group of kids that are like amazing, like jackknife. Like they line up to go off the springboard and create like a tsunami. Like they purposefully try to get the lifeguards because the lifeguards will sometimes just sit by the pool. Their victory is like getting the lifeguard up in the high chair because otherwise they'll get completely soaked.
Okay.
And so then the lifeguards move up there and then they continue to try to get the lifeguard wet, like with like that, like
What is it?
10-foot waves or
What
something.
is the thing with messing with authority? Like that's just not in me.
It's just the game. There's not much. I don't think there's much difference to a lifeguard sitting in a thing and the tomato guy or the sponge guy at a county fair, like standing over a dunk tank.
Right.
It's like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? Because one thing, I don't know if they train lifeguards to do this. I was never a lifeguard, but why do they always have to have this like such a serious face and not like? I get that they have to focus. But I don't understand why smiling isn't allowed. Like that always kind of bothered me.
They can't like engage.
They just like sit there and they're like,
Because they can't engage. Once they engage, they could miss something. So even a smile could throw them off.
"Well, get better, be better."
Learn how to smile and scan.
I don't see how smiling affects sight. Like, I can look around with a smile.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's weak.
I get that they shouldn't be on their phones. I get that, like that all makes sense. That would be like they're sitting there
That'd be so
scrolling. I'm
bad.
like, blah, 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 blah. Like, how many other were you?
So
Anyway, so
eventually we leave
oh, sorry, yeah.
the pool, and because it was time, we had been there for like 45, 50 minutes, and so we leave, and on the drive back, I like was telling Heather this story last night, but like on the drive back, I was like contemplating something that I was like, there's like no way I'm gonna win. Like, I know this is all good. Like something, I don't know what it was, but anyway, from the pool to the house, we get into the driveway, and Heather's like, I've got the bath going. Like, let's get the girls in and give them a bath. As I get out of the car, one of our neighbors is walking by with his dog, who is really nice and my kids love. But then there's these two other neighbors who aren't like together. They're just like separately walking, kind of like one's on the sidewalk and one's like halfway in the street. And then all their dogs are kind of like, how the leashes get and I was like, girls, let's just get in the house. And Hannah was like, hi, Louie. And then the dogs are all trying to like come up my driveway. And I'm like, Charlie, let's just get out of my car. And she's not getting out. And she just goes 0 to 60. She just screams, and she's screaming at me. And I'm like, Charlie, let's just get out. And it's 95 degrees, and I'm in the pool clothes, and all the wet towels are in my car. And I'm like, Charlie, get out of the car. Scream. My neighbors, their dogs are like, ooh. I go to grab her, and she'll hit. Like, she'll just swim.
Yeah.
Won't let me pick her up. So I pace. I walk away from her. I walk halfway into the garage. I do a U-turn. I walk back around. I grab her and I put her under my arm like a duffel bag full of body parts.
Yeah, because otherwise you're gonna get bit. Like you're gonna get bit or scratched. So you have to keep like that end that way, and then keep the heels down from your teeth.
And she was kicking and kicking, and she just doesn't understand. She just doesn't get it yet, physical contact. She doesn't understand. So I was not squeezing her, but I was like, I want you to know, I could squeeze the life out of you.
Yeah.
You're too arrogant already. So I put her down, and she's screaming at me, and I'm screaming back at her. And beyond her, I see Hannah sitting there holding her ears. And I was like, oh, she beat me. But I was against the ropes. I was like, she's not listening to me, and I'm trying to not save her, but I don't trust other people's dogs. I like the one dog, but I don't know those dogs. I don't want dogs are weird when they get around each other. They're unpredictable.
And especially you don't want to add more to the situation than just getting out of the car and moving on with the night.
That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
I
get it.
And so I saw Hannah, and then I was like, oh crap. And then Hannah gets up and hugs Charlie, and I was like, yo, what are you doing? You're turning on me, technically. Don't do that. I was like, you're not involved here. You don't need to do that. I really appreciate it being a great sister, but not right now, not with me. And then every time I was like, Charlie, I'm sorry. And she would go, no, I only want Hannah. You stay away from me. I'm like, actually, I'm not sorry. You caused this. It's like arguing with a dog. And it was bad, dude. Heather got home, and I was rattled.
Yeah.
And she's been putting Heather, Heather's like, I know what you mean. She's like, I know how you feel. She's like, I've carried her like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I told you, we should have just stuck with one.
Stop.
Just kidding.
No, I mean
Hannah was such a.
Well, look,
it's funny. I'm like, I love Hannah so much because she's so much like Heather. Charlie and I just constantly smash heads because she's so much like me.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, I think
destiny.
I think the best thing that you can do, and I don't know if it won't always work, but what I found is because Leo gets that way, Ruby gets that way too. All kids get that way.
Not my Hannah.
Just not on Instagram. Just no, I'm not going to be the person that says just wait, but just it comes up. It doesn't come up as often, right? It definitely comes up more with Leo than it comes up with Ruby. But Ruby,
that's what it is. Hannah
Ruby can sting. She can sting, and Ruby can fight with words. That's the dangerous part.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't like you, and your dinner was horrible.
Yes. Yeah. Hannah didn't let. Hannah kneed me in the chin
Yeah.
right before I was about to put her to bed, and I bit my tongue, and I thought I was bleeding, so I kind of like ran away. I didn't want her to see me bleeding, and it freaked her out that I ran away.
Yeah. Well, there's kind of like the shock that snaps them out of it.
And she didn't let me put her to bed.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that's like twice in her life.
sometimes with Leo, like when he's really angry, I would sit in the room and I'd sit against the door, and I'd just be like, he'd be like, "Open the door, like let me out," like because he's possessed by the demon in the moment,
Beast.
and he's like, let me out. I will destroy everything in here. I will smash your face in, and I'm like,
See,
and I'm just like,
that's what I want. That's what
I'm like,
I'm like, maybe we should have another one.
I'm like, I'll open the door when you sit down. And he's like, nothing will make me sit. You don't control me. He like actually go. I'm like, where did you learn this accent? And,
Where did you learn it? He was born with it.
Yeah.
It's in his DNA.
So he was like, eventually, like, I found that he couldn't sit. He couldn't really sit unless he was calm, right?
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's like if he actually landed a hit on me or something like that, and I overacted it, like
Sold it.
I like professional wrestling, like
Oh, my caps.
oh my gosh, yeah, like am I bleeding? Or if you just kind of go down into like a curled up position, and I don't know if this is the right thing to do. I'm not saying it's probably the wrong thing to do. But it was, but it always seemed to kind of like click in him. And then he would kind of go over and be like, I think the upset of hurting me became more than like whatever he could remember of the reason that he was actually upset. And so then it would kind of turn into breathing. And once it turned into breathing, then it turned into sitting. And then all of a sudden it would be like him again. And then it would be like, oh, hey, I'm sorry about earlier. But we have it too. I mean, like we have like I have the same thing. Like I have the same thing. Like when I'm angry, I'm just like a stupid idiot. Like I'm just I'm stomping around. I'm gonna make my coffee. I'm like so mad. Like just stomping around. It's like,
dude,
everybody's bad, and I'm like, and then I'm looking at them like, why can't they control themselves?
And
I'm like. Like I'm operating at like 60% of the time, like okay,
Right.
And,
yeah. Right. Yeah. 60 is like, whew.
And I can't understand why it's like I could be in the worst mood, right? I could be in the absolute, like, mean to everybody, like mean to the kids, yelling at them out all the way out the door.
Can't enjoy anything.
Then I get to the Wawa and I hold the door open for somebody, and it's like, what is happening here? Like, what is going on in here where it's like, have a good day. Yep, you too. Like, that's so, like, and then I get caught in those moments and I try to, like, catch them. And then I'm like, what? Like, how is that more important? Like, how is that, like, how can I switch or how can I act? Maybe just act, because pretending is half the way there too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like if when you were so upset about the towels and stuff, if you somehow paused and just became overly nice, like Mary Poppins nice, right? And you were like,
Oh, Charlotte, please come this way.
like, and just went into like a character or something like that. Like that always kind of seems to be a way to not just help her, but to help you, And so I've often relied, like sometimes it doesn't work. Like Ruby was throwing a fit the one day and I tried to do gorilla to her, just, just like I came charging up like on all fours, like, and this was like
me walking around Epcot.
This was like at a, like people were around. This was like at a museum. So this was like terrifying to her. It might have actually been like a live gorilla was like approaching her.
You might as well have just been naked.
Yeah, it didn't matter. She was like, "What is happening?" And
it didn't work.
It didn't work. Yeah, she was still like, it worked for a moment. Like you can see the glimpse. Like you can actually see them. Like the kids, right? Like them, and then their anger. And I think the thing is like, when you see their anger, you just give the anger less time and pretend that you're talking to the kid on the inside. It's like, I'm not talking like, it's like, well, that's dumb. I'm like, well, oh no, sorry. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the Leo on the inside,
Right.
the one that I normally talk to. I want to see him again. So I'll just leaving him a message. Tell him I called. Thanks.
Dude, and that is Charlie's like kryptonite. Like, and I just didn't, I like forget it.
I know.
Because it's also my like super, it's like I've got a million tricks, and that's the one thing that she can like, I can turn her on a dime on. As quick as she can go crazy, she can laugh.
Yeah.
She's like, Harley Quinn.
But look, everybody's kids do it. It's crazy, and like sometimes you just gotta see that happening and just kind of relax. But you are kind of getting to the point now where they do just go and play and they don't want to spend as much time with you.
I know.
Like now it's like you said, like when you go to the pool, like
I know. So
let me finish the other story, right? So he's on the diving board.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, jump, like not mean, but like,
you can
jump,
do it,
like just
you
do it.
can
Just
this.
ready, 1, 2, 3, and he'd be like, and I'm like, like this is like killing me. And then there's like, kids lining up, and then he has to get back off, and all the kids go, and he's like, but then he kept going out, and I'm like, okay, like,
okay, all right,
maybe I don't like. What do I do here? Like, do I push him?
I know.
Like, I want to push him because like that's how I got him through one of like the crazy slides. I'm like, hey, lifeguard, can I go up and just shove him in there, and then this will all be over. Like, I can't take this like up and down stuff all day. And they're like, yeah,
Right.
just don't go down with him. I'm like, all right. So like I just pushed him, and he was like, wee, and then he was fine.
Right.
I wanted to do it here, but it's against the pool rules to push anybody. I'm like, look,
All right.
he's mine.
But
I'll
it's
sign
my
a
kid.
waiver.
Doesn't
Like, yeah,
count.
let me just give me the legal document. I'll sign it. And let me just shove him off.
Just kick him in.
Just kick him.
This is
Just Sparta him. Yeah, right. And
What's the name of the club?
this is madness. It's like University City.
This is University City.
Yeah, this is University Swim Club.
This is Lenape Valley.
So anyway, so I'm like, I have to stop. So I just started moving away. Like I tried to like actually put distance between me and him, like just so I would stop with my annoying, like basically the behind the camera like the camcorder dad voice is what was happening, right? The guy who's like narrating, come on, all right, come on, are we having fun? Are we having fun? We having fun? Everybody good?
Do what we practiced. Do what we practiced.
Yeah. So I was just, so I moved away, and those kids that do the big splashes and some other kids that were there start cheering him on.
Oh, no way.
And
Wow.
they're like,
brotherly
come
love.
on, Leo, like you can do it. Come on. Now, like I don't know if like on some level they were just kind of annoyed that he would hold up the line.
Come on, Leo.
I think it was like like not maybe for all the kids, but like some of the kids it was probably like a little bit in between. But there has to be like some little piece of each of those kids that like knew the first time. And Leo's like big, but he's 6, right? Like he looks bigger, and people treat him like he's older. And I'm like, dude, this kid's 6. Like, give him a break, Like he just finished kindergarten. Like this
It
is
is pretty
moment.
relatable. The diving for the first time is pretty relatable.
It's kind of like especially it was all guys there. Well, no, there was girls there too, but there was like kind of like a brotherhood. Like they were like chanting for him, like go, come on, but like you could do it, like. And and then he like after a few minutes he just jumped in, and then it was like 100 more jumps after that. Like it didn't, like once it was broken,
right.
and I was like, yeah, like I was like really glad that one I didn't push him. It was definitely more amazing when I didn't push him, even though I know it gave me the same result. Maybe it wasn't the same result for him. It also wasn't the same result for me. So as a dad, it was kind of like a.
Oh yeah,
Do this.
I
Just help
know.
him.
Like the other day when I saved the baby sea turtle, because it was tangled up in seaweed. I was like, "Aren't you supposed to like get out of there?" And then like you're like this escape artist going forward in your life, and I just took it away. I just sent
Probably
you
not.
down a different timeline.
Probably not. I think they just die.
But you know how there was like you shouldn't interfere. It's like, but we're nature too. Why don't we? They interfere with
Well,
stuff.
if they're tangled in stuff, it's like.
God, some of that is the worst.
Well, I mean, you also kind of see them like if there's like anything in nature where there's like a lot of something, it's because a lot of it dies, right? Like we have like one or two offspring,
Oh,
three or four
right.
offspring because the chances of them living is pretty good,
Right.
especially nowadays, right? But it's
They
like
have to.
when you look at like flies or, you know, like mayflies have like thousands of eggs, right? Because it's like, all right, hopefully four live, out of these thousands, right? Or the turtles have, like 60 eggs or whatever, and then they all hatch and they all go swimming. So it's like, yeah, probably chances.
It's like why cats have like 8 litter because when they were in the wild, they would eat some of them.
The cats would eat their own cats.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Not a
Just in
cat.
case, I'll make a couple snacks for us.
I don't think I'll, I don't think
Get
I'll
us
ever be a
through.
cat person. Yeah.
I was thinking about
Just
that the other
stories
day
like that.
because Hannah keeps bringing up Shady. I miss Shady, Dad, and I'm like, I think you're just saying that.
Oh, did Shady pass?
Yeah, we had to put her down.
Hmm.
She was, dude. She would have like 35 asthma attacks a day.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was just like she was just in a misery, and we would like give her the shot. It would last for like 6 months. Then we'd get her the shot. It would last 5 months. We'd give her a shot, and then it was like lasting a day, where she
Yeah.
wouldn't have any asthma attacks. And it was just like she did so much damage to her that we got these people. They come over, and they just give them like a little shot, and like lay with them, and then they like give them another shot, and then they wrap them up in a blanket, and they leave, and they like take them to like the cremator.
Oh.
So
Oh, for the yeah.
I was like, I've been saying goodbye for this cat for like a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like,
It's still
whatever you
tough
gotta.
though. Yeah.
She's like, do you want to be in there? I was like, I don't. I was like, it sucks because this cat was so cool, and it was such an idiot, and it swallowed all this junk and fucked up its innards that like cut its life in half.
Yeah. Probably injured
But,
its lungs or something too.
Big time. That's what it was. Its lungs were just like they were like raisins because they showed us X-rays. You can't really see it, but you can kind of tell. You're like, that looks like
That's
a
a Lego
popped
piece.
balloon.
Yeah.
It looks like they're not even working.
Yeah.
But I was like, I always wanted to have a kitten like under the tree for the kids to come down on Christmas,
Oh, yeah.
but then like give it back the next day. But
Well, I only want the kitten.
moment,
Yeah, I just want to rent a kitten,
Yeah.
a chick, and like 40 puppies, but I want them gone the next day,
40,
and I want somebody standing by to clean up after.
yeah, like a ribbon on its neck.
Besides that, I mean, they are probably going to genetically engineer something that just stays a kitten at some point, right? Like it's going to be like a kitten that never grows, and so it's just in this like constant loop of being a kitten, and then somehow it'll be like an old kitten, which I don't think we're all ready for. I think that's going to be a major problem. Like a decaying kitten is going to be there's going to be something weird like in our brains that goes, we did wrong here.
It's like when you see a deep fake, you're like, it isn't a person.
There's
That's
something
not,
soulless.
there's no soul in those
Yeah.
eyes.
Those giant kitten eyes.
It's like one person made that person.
Yeah.
That's a great punchline for a AI, joke. One person made that person.
One person made that person. Our whole team did, I guess.
Yeah, right. 2 people didn't make that person.
Yeah. 50 guys made that girl.
50 sweaty nerds made that. Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. We were actually, I will say, he's not here. We were really proud of Sawyer. He did a good job
He's
hiking.
still kicking, man.
Yeah, he just turned 10.
Okay.
He did a 6-mile hike in Vermont. Like up to the top, climbing crazy rocks.
Vermont, man.
There was
I want
one.
to do that over again.
It was fun. Yeah.
I ate too much that day. The Ben and Jerry's and the steak.
no
I just
such thing.
couldn't. No, but I was like full to the point where I like didn't get hungry again until like our ride home the next day. And I couldn't like drink. I was like, ugh.
I still think of your reaction to the heady topper, which I get you don't like, but I just still remember your reaction to it because it's like, I don't know if it still is, but at the time it was like the number one beer You
Oh
know,
yeah.
that place is like a compound now. Like they have like a full, like it was like a garage at the time, and now it's like they have like a full brewery and like
I know
people
it's such
come
a
and
fad.
they
I
have
mean,
like a
it's not even a
system.
fad. It's like a thing. It's like a genre of beer.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
But
mean,
you were like, oh, what is this potpourri or something like that?
yes, I know. I was
Like,
like,
get me a Miller Lite.
yeah, give me the watery stuff that I went to college, drinking. This is
I agree
too.
with you. I agree
I
with
need
you.
a
Like,
fork and a knife. Now I love it. I can't like it, when I see Bud Light and that kind of beer at parties. I'm like, what the? Grow up. I can't do it. I have one of them and I'm like nauseous.
yeah. No, I mean, even like tonight, I was like, oh, let me go grab a beer because I came back with a whole bunch of like Heady Topper and like a bunch. I do like a lot of the Vermont beers, and a lot of them better than Heady Topper.
Potpourri.
But yeah, potpourri. Um, but yeah, I'm like, I got to do one of these without a beer because I just lose my mind by the end of it. Like, I just can't. I get over
Oh,
beers sometimes. Like, I'm like, I
dude.
can't. I need to like
I,
stop.
I made a mistake because I like vowed to never like drink and do a thing,
Yeah.
because I've done like three, and every time I'm like, oh, what the fuck, shut
Yeah.
up.
Oh, like a drunk show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never happy with my performance. It's not like the CWO where we could like act and hide it.
Yeah.
You could disguise the drunk when you're like pretending to be somebody else. And when you're just being yourself. But I went out to dinner, we got kind of drunk, and I came back and Clark and Bob were like, hey, we're on. Do you want to join us? And I was like, yeah, whatever. I went back and listened to it, and like 15 minutes in, I'm like, all right, I was like keeping it together. Then I repeated the same story I told like 5 minutes earlier with like the same like stupid little, marks and points. And I waited for them, and Bob and Clark they're like out to lunch in two different ways. They didn't like notice, but like listening to it, I was like, all right, now I'm never, ever drinking again.
Yeah. I never liked when we planned the drunk shows. Like, I always liked it in theory, but then I committed way too much to it.
I know. Yeah. I would get like
Like,
bourbon.
I had bourbon and tequila in
Drink
front
a
of
whole
me. And I'm
bottle.
like, all right, like we're doing this, right? And then halfway through, even in my fog, I'd be like, nobody else is where I am right now, right? Like, this thing needs to end in like the next 5 minutes. And then I need someone to just come in. What was the one guy who used
That's
to
what I
who would
think.
dance? Who was the guy that they would like throw like a blanket over, like when he would after
James
he
Brown.
James Brown, yeah. Like, I need somebody to just bring like a blanket like that and just like wheel me out of whatever I'm doing and just shut everything down because I'm just like, there's a point where you can't go. And you're right, it does become like really embarrassing. And hearing your own drunk voice is not
No
not
way.
enjoyable. Like, I listen back to like our drunk. I still have our recording
That was like the
in Epcot.
number one, because when we played it back the next day, I was like, dude, there is a second hand that you and I have just not found in normal sober life because we're not speaking English to each other, and
No,
I
we
can't
were like
listen to
here,
that.
him, and it was just like we were talking like
I thought you were like rewinding the. It did not sound like even
it was. Yeah, it was
this planet.
like I was talking in this direction and you were talking like in like we were just talking in like completely. Like, I was answering a question from like 3 minutes ago that you had asked me or something.
It was like when you try to match up audio and video. And it was
Yeah. It
far
just got
apart.
stretched out.
It
Yeah,
just kept
exactly. It just got stretched, and it's like, what is this conversation?
Or like when there's an echo and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, here it comes. Oh, here it comes. Oh, here it comes.
It's so bad. And I want to delete it so bad too, but it's like so hard to delete audio. I'm like,
Can't
I
believe
just,
you had it.
no, yeah, because we had that recorder and a saved we for some reason had shifted folders. Otherwise, it would have all gotten deleted.
It's like,
But
from what I've learned, it's like we need to take. Well, I don't know. Like, the last thing we need to do is take ayahuasca and play that thing.
jeez.
Like, I think we would rip our own heads off of our own body.
I feel like we missed the boat on that one.
Ah! Never. I also don't think that we have enough to unpack from childhood that warrants that. You know, like it wasn't too extreme. I mean, yeah, we have some fucking issues, but nothing like too brutal. We were
Yeah,
pretty nice.
I feel like most of our issues, like we just gotta. I think at this point, it's kind of just like no, like we gotta figure it out at this point because everybody, like now that we're in it, like the perspective is like, yeah, you know what? It's hard to keep your cool. And it's hard not to yell. And it's hard not to organize vacations. And it's hard to not be like, hey, we just like came all this way. Like, why are you watching a movie that we could have just watched at home? Like, no, we're gonna go out and do stuff. You know, like there's like that instinct and you're
I
kind of
know.
like you're like, maybe like I'm gonna try and dial it back. You know?
Right. Yeah. I'm like, am I supposed to be guiding this or like, are they cool? Yeah. It's like, where is that like middle part?
I guess it's like,
It's always when you just do it by yourself. And then they're like, well, what are you doing, Dad?
yeah.
I always forget that. They're like such copycats. They're such like, you know, it was like in high school with me, you and Kev, like we would go to a different room because there was no one in it. And then that room would become full.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the kids kind of do that too.
Yeah. It was fun. Ruby and I decided that we were actually very much alike. When we were on a hike, Leo and Kelly just took off up this hill. And I was like, I'm out of breath. Like, I can't. We basically, we were on this like nice hike through the woods, which can keep me entertained. And then we moved off to like the ski trail in the summer. And the ski trail in the summer is nothing but like weed
Grass.
and like grass and
Brush.
rock and high incline because
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
ski trail,
Oh,
right?
shit. Where were you?
In Stowe, Vermont.
Stowe, Vermont. One more thing about Vermont.
Yeah.
The one thing that would drive me back there, I wouldn't have to see anything else, is the stars at night.
Oh
Are
my
big and
gosh,
bright deep in the heart of
that
Vermont.
was insane. That was the Milky Way,
They are like touching your nose.
and that was the perfect time of year to go because that was like October or late
yeah.
September or something, and we just sat there and it was like the galaxy.
It was, dude.
And it was like 8 o'clock at night. We were like just sitting by a fire, and it was like,
But then we were there like way late
galaxy.
because like
Yeah.
Smith and I got there at like
oh yeah, but I'm just saying it started earlier.
2 in the morning, and
Yeah.
then Smith left 7 hours later after a hike up a mountain in golf shoes. I mean, that's a story that it's not really like there's nothing to it. It's just like my buddy hiked a mountain in Vermont with golf cleats and no socks.
And had to decide on it, right? Like he's like, I have sandals
Right.
or I have golf cleats. And we were like, I don't know what the right answer is here.
I was like, I think you just do it barefoot.
Yeah.
At this stage, those things are going to just hurt you more. And then
That
he
was-
did it.
yeah.
But that's Smith. That's what he does. And then he just got in the car and drove 14 hours.
That was such a fun. Well, you know what? I think the drive there is kind of part of the experience too. Like even with the kids, like I actually really enjoy the car ride because it's like got stages. We stop in different places. You know, we can like look up a fun place to eat or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I like that too.
Found some good road stops. Since we brought Sawyer this time, it was a bit more complicated because we couldn't like
Ooh.
stop at a place where we could just go in and eat for a little bit. You know.
Right.
I mean, he's still really good, except for somehow he developed a. For some reason, when I put the car in park, not if I just stop, but if I put the car in park, he decided to bark at the top of his lungs. I don't know if he was just. I mean, he's getting older.
Is it the beep? Or
No,
just when you
there's no
move the
beep. It was
shit?
just boom, boom, like I just put it up into park. Like
Oh, he doesn't like that.
it never happened before. Like we've driven them to
Weird.
my parents, we've driven them like other places, and perfectly fine. It might just be like, hey, look, I've been stuck in the back of this car for 4 hours, like not really enjoying my ride here. You know, like
Maybe he's like, he knows that sound means like we're done driving.
yeah, like I think he just wanted to get out at that point.
He's like,
So
all right, let's go. Let's
that
go.
was
Go, go,
something
go,
he
go.
developed. It was not enjoyable, and yeah, and his bark is a thing that triggers me as far as
Oh,
my yelling.
dude.
So I made it all the way home
Why
from
is
Vermont.
that?
It was like a 10.5 hour drive.
Is it Miss
We're
Holler?
we're parallel parking in front of our house. I put it in reverse, and Sawyer barks. The whole time, I had kept control. Not that I was like really on edge, but I hadn't yelled. And we're backing into like our parking spot, and I'm like, "Shut up!" And I'm like, and I just like held my mouth like, oh, I had it like I was completely in control. I made it 10.5 hours. I mean, like it was probably also like the 10-hour drive or whatever, right? Like with all the
Right.
stops, So I was probably like a little bit on edge. We did not have as nice of stops like on the way home as we could find on the way there.
It was like a little bumpy.
Also going home, like you're not like you're trying to make better.
Kids.
I did in that, like, guys, like it's a
I
long
always do,
drive.
man.
Like,
I
I'm
always
sorry.
do.
I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not even mad at Sawyer. It's just like he hits my inner ear and then I
Yeah.
just
It
lose
hurts.
it,
It hurts, man.
It's also
Mac,
like we're in a can, like we're in a little can.
Mac does it too. Every time a delivery truck drives by, Mac goes, "Vroom," and it's loud. I mean, it's as loud. It's as loud as a dog's bark can be, and every time I'm like, I'm gonna kill you. It's just like you're supposed to be this genius brainiac dog. Like, stop it.
He's like, I know, I was just telling you.
He's like, I said hello.
You're the idiot.
That's what I want to do, though. I want to like dub her. That would be the funniest. That would just be like a great thing to have. Like that.
Shut up, the delivery man's here. It's like, I know. I told
Like,
you.
Yeah, I said FedEx. And
His name is Kevin. You never even learned his name. It's like, all right.
he's like, "Oh, that's right, because you can't hear. I can hear him. I can hear him through the wall."
Smelled him a mile away. Yeah, so we had lots of trips. I will say this. I think we've planned out the end of the summer. I think I'm going to win the award. Or I guess Kelly and I need to win the award together because, like I said, we planned out the summer as far as vacations. We did do a few camps in there. We actually split the camps. We actually sent the one kid away and kept one kid home. And then we sent, and right now this week, we just got back from Vermont. Leo is now away, and we just have Ruby. Next week, the final week of summer, they both go to my parents' house. We stay back, and I pick them up Labor Day weekend. It's got to be one of the best.
I feel like I haven't even started being a parent yet.
It's got to like
Masterful.
No, trust me, these things don't just like there's
took a lot of work.
Nobody wrote this down, right? So you think like a vacation, like the problem is you have to stop thinking, you have to enjoy vacations. You do have to enjoy them, but know what they are. Don't think that there's something else because you're just going to come home angry, okay? The family vacation, the vacation all together is for you to have the kids do an experience and for you to kind of live a little bit through them and hopefully get a nap in. Like
Right.
that is it. Like, and if you get to see friends and stuff like that, bonus, right?
Right.
But that's the vacation, and don't expect to be like comfortable afterwards. Like you're not going to be like relaxed. You didn't get a massage.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
none of
no.
these things are
It's
happening.
not for
right?
it's not for me.
Not that it has to be high stress, but it's not going to be. It's not Margaritaville, right?
It's
So
definitely not.
definitely not, right? So then laying down the buffer weeks afterwards, where like you hand like one is fine. Like when we separate them, that's like you've increased the probability of like a good non-yelling day by like 200-300%. Like you've moved up the chances where they're not gonna like because they'll just fight. Like especially if it's 4 o'clock.
I
Like they can
know.
make it till like around 2,
such negative influence. Right, you dude. Between 4 and
And
6,
then
they're
4
just
and 6 is like the
pure.
witching hour. Yeah.
Heather called it that on Sunday.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's like, and then it's like I get mad at myself for, I'm like, oh,
I
what,
know.
why am I mad? It's 4 o'clock. This happens every single day at 4 o'clock. Like,
Yeah, what am I surprised about, and why am I getting mad at them? I am making them live this life.
right.
Like they're like mad at what I want them to do. It's like, well, yeah, because it's not what they want to do.
So I feel like this will work out. And then they go right. Like I think Leo comes home for like a day, and then they
Dude,
both
that's
go
like
out.
so. Wait a second. So they're both gone, and you're it's just you and Kelly at home for a week.
Right now, it's just Ruby's home. Leo's out at
The oldest.
Kelly's parents.
There was like some weird occurrence where Charlie wasn't here, and it was just Hannah and me and Heather. And
You're
I
like,
was
whoa! You're like, whoa!
this is the greatest.
You're like, something's different. Like, what's different? They're like, it's the quiet.
No one's yelling at me. No one's yelling at me with a passy in her mouth so I can't understand even what she's saying. She has an accent from a country we don't know. It's not on the map. It's so weird, dude.
She's like Booster Gold. She came back from the future,
Or
from
like
some country
Bane.
that doesn't exist yet. Yeah. Bane.
She's got the
Hello
passy.
there.
It's just like,
Hello.
Daddy, I want chocolate chip. I would like chocolate chip, Daddy.
I'm like, you fucking weirdo. You
Are
eat
there
chocolate.
carrots in this applesauce? I think there's carrots. I think you're lying to me.
This is the face she makes. She goes, Daddy, what's in this? I'm like, what is that? What's that face you're making? She is a super villain.
Oh my gosh. It's all right. They grow out of the supervillain. Like Leo didn't really communicate well for quite a while, and he was just drooling and snot and forever drooling. And then one day he just kind of like snapped out of it.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hi, this is my personality." And we're like, "Oh, nice to meet you."
That's so weird, man. Like all of a sudden it's like they have shin bones that are like all there. It's like, oh, there's the person.
Yeah.
Like Hannah looks so much more like Heather. It's like crazy. Blows my mind.
Yeah, it's nuts. And like they're so funny sometimes too, because it's like on the trip it's like Ruby's like, a fly hit me. Oh, like a fly. I'm like, yeah, we're in the country. We're in its territory. Like, you know, flies are gonna hit you. And they're like cow flies, so they're gonna like run into your face. But then
Right.
we got back from the trip and she's like, "Hey, Dad." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "There's a dead cockroach in my room. Can you go get that for me?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "It's pretty big." So I just didn't want to get it. Do you mind getting it? I'm like, what is going on here? Like, and I'm like trying to flex my dad
hear
muscle.
her.
Like, all right, do I really, like, I just drove 10 and a half hours. I'm trying to keep my cool.
Oh my god, this is the same
Dude, I
occurrence?
came into such a dad environment when I came back.
Oh Jesus.
I came back.
Like save the day dad environment? Like,
No,
Dad,
no.
Get this kid down. Kill this cockroach.
No. Dad nightmare. Like dad responsibility nightmares.
Oh.
I came back and remembered that before we had left,
As soon as you walked in, you were like,
before I got in the front door, I smelled it and it reminded me. There was a squirrel that had lost a fight somewhere in front of our house, and it fell, and it was dead. And we were like,
lost a fight to a meth head.
we were leaving the next day, and I'm like, this is not my problem. Like,
You're
this,
like, a raccoon will clean this up.
the squirrel in the street, like the city should taketh. Like, this is not my problem. And like the
It'll
next day,
become sand.
the next day came and like nobody got it. And now it's like covered in flies. I'm like, all right, like I need to, and it's like parked right where I need to load the bikes on. You know, like this is my loading area. I'm gonna be stomping back and forth between here. I don't need like a rotting carcass in my way.
It is gonna reek.
So I got a spade out and
Flatten the
I
water.
got like a trash bag and I put it in the trash bag. You know, just holding your breath for 8 minutes. Like a man.
Like me with the diaper pail.
Threw it in the trash can. I was like, whew, trash is the next day. Like, put it out for trash. Trash didn't take it. They took all like the trash like on top of it. They
How
didn't
did they
take.
do that?
They just decided not to take that
How do
back.
they know?
They just left it. I don't know if they knew what they were doing, but they didn't take it. And I'm like,
Weird.
like we got to go on vacation. Like I can't.
Oh no!
There's no next Tuesday, right? Like
Oh,
we're
no.
leaving. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be bad. And then I looked in it and I'm like, maybe it's not so bad. Like maybe it's like in the bag, so like everything's cool. Nope. Looked in, maggots everywhere. I was like,
Oh no! When you said flies, I was like, I think maggots come next because a fly lay the eggs.
yes, hundreds.
And this is
So-
in your house?
No, this is like it's a trash can. It's
Okay.
on the side of the house. It's outside.
Okay.
Breathe. But still maggots. So I'm like, well, they're not gonna reach in and get this now, and I can't have maggots. Like, what am I gonna come back to? It's like some sort of super fly is gonna push the lid open when I get home. So I'm like,
Right, what's the next stage? If they're maggots?
I don't know. I don't want to find out. But
Jeff
I don't want,
Goldblum.
I don't want like a plague to come out of it.
Right.
So, so what you do is somebody said like pour like bleach with like a little bit of water into your trash can, and then all the maggots will die. And I'm like, great. And I just poured bleach in because I'm like, water? Like, what am I being kind to them? Like, here,
No,
I don't want to
yeah.
irritate your skin, but suffocate
Right.
your maggots. Like,
It'll be a cool
you're
drowning.
done. You're not helping me here, right? I didn't ask for you. Like, if you want to be out in your own thing, cool. But
Scorched earth.
scorched earth, right? So I poured bleach in, put the other trash cans in. But when we got home, it's still there waiting for me. So, like, as I'm walking in the door, I get the stench of death. And I'm like, oh no! Like, I still
See,
have to
when you
handle this
said
thing.
as I'm walking in the door, I was like, it was in your house? Like,
Yeah.
you walked in and then smelled it, but it was like the can was by the door.
No, so
You
I
smelled it
So
as
I
you were
get,
walking.
I walk past that triggers in my head. I unlock the door. I start my unpacking sequence of taking everything off, bike rack off, like just break the whole car down, just bringing bags and bringing them all into the house, bringing in. And as I'm bringing the bags into the house, what do I hear? Fire alarm chirp. Deep, 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 deep. I'm like, I have to replace. So now the kids need to go to bed, but I'm gonna have to like bring a ladder in and replace all the
my
fire,
God, I hate
the
them.
smoke alarms or whatever throughout the house.
I'll smell it.
I have to replace all the batteries in them. So I'm like running around the house with like double A's, like replacing all the batteries.
You're lucky it didn't happen. It happened in like 1 a.m. one night.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what happens. So once one goes off, I know they're all going off. So I had to go around, like it was one in the kitchen. So I could have been like, meh, I'll fix it tomorrow, but it would have just been like, I replaced them all at the same time
Same
last year.
time.
They're all going to die at the same time this year. Right. So I started racing around to like get
That's a
that
good
done.
test.
And then Ruby was like, yeah, get this cockroach. And I'm just like, and it was a big mother. Like it was on its back. It's dead. I'm like, what? Like,
I hate
like,
these fucking
but
things.
like I can't bring myself to just grab it. Like
No,
I even
I'd smash it. I don't want to see it.
I have the toilet paper and I'm like,
19
I just
paper towels.
can't separate my arm from my body to just use it like a unfeeling claw. Like I almost want to like just sit on my hand for a while and then just grab the cockroach. So
I don't want,
have to like
yeah, I don't want to
feel
hear
it.
a crunch.
And I don't
or
want it to be
feel
like some sort of
legs.
like gotcha, where it's like like just right up like the scenarios that are playing in my head. I'm like so tired. Like now it's like 12 hours since I started driving, like
In moments like that, I'm like to my imagination, would you just shut the fuck up? Shut up. Stop. Just stop doing that thing.
it's a dead bug.
Get
Like
your
it
creativity and
shouldn't do
shut up.
anything.
I'm like, it's dead. It's dead. This is real now. It's not going to go, hey, and now I will take your finger and peel it off.
And even if it was alive, like what is it gonna do to me? Like it won't do anything to me. It'll just like flutter
I
or
outweigh this
something.
bitch. I can squeeze it to death.
Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing? And then, so I did chicken out a little bit. I went out and got one of we have like a trash grabby thing, like those like long arm pickup things.
Oh, yeah.
So I got that, and I dropped the toilet paper on it, and then grabbed it with the grabby thing, and then ran to the bathroom real quick and dropped it. So like, look, I gave it 50% dad power. I was so low on dad power at that point. I had like no,
Right, yeah.
like, can you
were looking
imagine
away.
like the reservoir of dad power. Like
Just
10 and a half hour vacation drive home after packing up from a vacation.
It's in Rocky
Coming in,
Four.
yeah, I'm like, I'm done.
Like Rocky Four, like around 12, when it's with his face and the Russian, like that was you. The dog barking, the 10-hour ride, the stench of the dying squirrel and the maggots, the cockroach that's like a foot long. Dude, whenever there's like a bug or anything, I go over to the paper towel roll and I just go. I take
You mummify it,
take a ball, yeah,
all of it.
in the trash,
It all
set it
goes
on
together.
fire.
It's like, and then what you do then is like you calculate how much all that cost, and you're like, worth it. You know,
Yeah.
like that
Always
cost me $2.35, but totally worth it.
Worth it. No way. I'm not. That thing's not. And down here sometimes we get lizards.
Yeah.
Most of the time they're like this long, like including the tail. So they're like bugs basically.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, there's these big ones where like if you kill them, it's a bit messy. It's a bit bloody and messy.
I can't imagine.
Luckily, that's only happened like once, and I knew what happened just because of the angles of how everything went down, but I didn't really have to look at it. I
Yeah.
just kind of like knew where he was. It was like, okay, I think I got him. Yeah.
I think it would take me a while to think of a lizard as like an annoyance, you know?
They're not annoying, but like when it's like there's no option because it's
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna be able to get it out unless I pick it up.
It's
And
like
I'm
in
not-
the house.
It's
Yeah.
not gonna let me pick it up,
Yeah.
and it's cornered, and I got it, and it's sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Circling.
I saw 2 movies this weekend. Heather was amazing and was just like, "Yeah, go do it." I saw Blue Beetle and I saw Barbie, and I pretty much enjoyed both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen either yet. So
It was like
I feel like I've already seen Blue Beetle, but
you have, but all the actors that are in it, like all the like characters, all the performers, they're all enjoyable
yeah.
in a way that's not really a thing in superhero movies.
Do
So
you
it's like
recognize a lot of them? Are they all kind of like new actors?
George Lopez is
Oh,
awesome.
George Lopez is it? Okay.
Yeah, and I always liked him because he like does his comedy with like Spanish slang or Mexican slang, I guess. And it was like I never heard it before, but the way he used it, it was like, oh, okay, like I know what that means now.
Yeah.
So he kind of gave it some street cred because they really like leaned on that. They wanted it to feel like it was this make believe kind of. I don't know. It was called like Gate Key or it was like a mixture of a bunch of places. I guess like places where Hispanics population is large, like Southern California, Southern Florida.
Oh, you mean like his city, like his
Mhm.
DC city that isn't
Yeah.
a real city?
Yeah, right. It's like Key Gate or something like that. But yeah, I liked it.
There's
The
no
actor,
Saints they could have gone with. I don't know. I don't know what it is in the
Yeah.
comics either. Yeah.
I forget. I'm drawing a blank, but I liked it. It was it was just like a well-made movie. It was like, and that's what my review. I was like, is it paint by numbers superhero? Yeah, but like they do it all enjoyably.
Yeah.
Like you can get through it.
Yeah. Like Shazam was kind of like that too. Like it was
Right,
like, all
the
right, like
first one.
none of these places are Philly, but
Right.
you know,
Right.
besides Philly's palm trees.
Lightning
In the
in my
background.
hands.
But
Is he? So he's not even really on the steps. That's so.
oh no, he's probably in the steps, maybe in some of the scenes, but some of the scenes like where he like is like all of a sudden at the Ben Franklin Bridge and then somewhere else. I'm like, there's no place in Philly that has like
No.
infrastructure. Like it'll be like 5 highways crossing each other. I'm like, no, our
It's
highways are like one
mountains
2-lane highway.
without trees on them.
Yeah, mountains.
It's
We're
like-
out in the mountains. Probably have to fly pretty far.
And Barbie, I like because that I was just curious. I'm
Yeah.
like, obviously I know where all the girls went. It's just their biggest mistake. It's like they're Batman and Superman combined. And so I was like, but what is it? How do they do it 2 hours of this? And when they kind of reveal that, I was like, because Barbie and Ken both have like an arc in the movie, and Ken's was like the surprise to me, and what I thought was usually the funnier parts. But the Barbie part, the Barbie arc, it made me cry. It made me my eyes water because it's about this mom and daughter who like lost their bond, and they connected as you know, they connected when they were younger over this Barbie doll, and Margot Robbie's character like represented that Barbie doll. And because their relationship was crappy, Margot Robbie started like questioning death, and like her feet went flat,
Oh,
and she was like, I got to find out what's going on with me. So it was like, you know, it was interesting. It was cool. It was fun.
well,
It
yeah,
was,
I
it
can
was
see that
neat.
being difficult to establish.
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to like play that line. When we were
Yeah.
in Houston, we rewatched the Brady Bunch movie, which had a very similar problem, right? And they just went in. They were like, it's the Brady's. They're gonna
Super
act like
goofy.
it's the '70s, but they're gonna be in the '90s,
It's now.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna break from that.
No.
They're just gonna go into it, and we're just gonna treat it, and everyone's gonna think it's weird.
Right.
And
Right.
and I when I saw the trailer for Barbie when they're like on doing like the roller skating part, it reminded me of that. Like it reminded me of like the Brady Bunch when it's like they go to like the mall or
Yeah.
whatever, and everyone's like, "What are they doing?" Because they're like all dressed in like '70s clothes, which probably wouldn't work today because most people are like walking around in like almost like '70s clothes.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Right.
really
Like,
maybe a couple years ago, but it was still the first one was great. We then tried to watch the second one, the sequel, the next night, and except for the line that I remember you always saying like yes Greg, besides that line,
Marsha.
yeah, with
Yes,
Marsha.
Greg.
Yes Greg, besides that line, that movie does not hold up as well, but the first one was bonkers hilarious, and it made me want to find that the whoever played Jan, like I feel like
Oh, she was
she should have won an Oscar for that
I know.
performance of Jan. Like
She was so funny.
she was so committed, and the whole second movie she like carries it. Like nobody's funny in that movie except for Jan. Like Jan just like keeps giving like her like crazy eyes. She's like, whatever
Yeah.
happened to the
I
ginger?
know.
She's like twitching. And I'm like,
I
oh
used
my
to
gosh,
always watch that
she's
movie.
so committed. Like, and now, we've been watching some of the Brady Bunch show, and like now you're like Kelly's starting to get like all the jokes that were like made in it. Like she didn't even have the connection for it.
Oh.
So
Brain dead like Jan Brady.
we started watching them, and they were like, oh my god, like that girl did like a perfect impression of Jan, like just like
Yeah, she
the
nailed
inflection
it.
and stuff.
All the weird things. Yeah, Jan was such a strange character.
Yeah. It
The-
was that one and Alice walking into the fridge. That was probably the best part.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's just like, "Good night, everybody," and then she just like walks into the fridge because they all had like mushrooms or whatever that night, and she just says goodnight and climbs into the fridge. That was
What does he say?
gold.
Vini Vidi Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. Well, it's like I say, caveat emptor. Doesn't that mean buyer beware? Yes.
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Isn't that Lumberg?
It is. Yeah, it's Lumberg. Yeah.
And then he went on to do like so much.
The first one's definitely worth rewatching. That one's hilarious.
The second one, they go to Hawaii, right? And they kind of redo.
At the very end, they go to the Hawaii. They don't do it for like most of it, and it makes no sense. Like once they're there, they're just like running around and just kind of like seeing sight. It's like really weird. You know what it was? I was showing it to Kelly's sister and her husband, and I was like, these movies are funny. Like you might not believe me, but these movies are funny. And we hit a home run with the first one, the first night. But then when you're trying to kind of like impress somebody with a movie, and I'm like, I think the sequel's funny, but last night was such a hit. Like maybe we could keep going. Maybe this will be like an Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. Like maybe it'll
biggest
build
fear.
on it, But
It's my biggest fear. This is like when it could be my new thing now. After I see a movie and I give like a reaction, I'm gonna say, and as always, I never recommend a movie to anyone. because I hate it. I don't
It's
want to
so
like
painful, yeah.
sit through
Because
it.
so we were like halfway through it, and
scary.
I'm like, and like somebody like talked in the middle of like the Alice walking in the fridge scene. And I'm like, oh no, that was
The
like,
only part.
I'm like, that was the joke.
That
That's
was
like,
it. That's what I was
and like,
waiting
and I
for.
was remembering it differently because I remembered a lot of the jokes, but it turned out that a lot of them were in the first movie, not the second movie, and it's hard to separate them in my old man brain.
That's how I can tell. Oh yeah, I know. That's something that I was thinking about the other day. I'm like, we've watched so much like entertainment and movies and TV shows that like it's like some of it's just like not there anymore
Yeah, there's no
because it's
room.
so much and it's more than anyone before us. You know, it's like our parents didn't have that like we
No.
did. It's weird.
I mean, the Brady Bunch itself was only like 130 episodes. Like that's it. That's the whole Brady Bunch is 130 episodes, like 6 seasons or something like
And
that.
so many like weird changes they went through. Gosh, Marcia was so hot.
But it was also impossible for like our parents to have seen them all.
Oh right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it like was airing, and it might just air the same one you've seen 100 times. Like some of them might not have ever aired. Like
I feel like I saw more than people did when it was airing live,
yeah,
like in reruns.
it's crazy. Yeah. So
I used to watch that and kill a whole bag of Doritos
that sounds
after
like a great
homework,
day. Yeah.
after fake homework.
Doritos are so good. Oh,
Oh yeah,
man.
can't eat anything.
No.
Do you have like a snack or like a gorge like food that you
I've
eat?
got so many. I mean, I have to stay away from cereal. Cereal's like, I will go into autopilot on cereal. Like, especially this week with Leo. Like, I made the assumption since Leo's not here, the milk content needs to go down every day. So I will help it, and I will have cereal. You know, so like that was
That's what I always say
because
to
otherwise,
myself.
because
I
when
don't
the
want my
both kids are
children.
here, I can't drink any milk because they drink exactly a gallon.
Ah,
Right? And then I'll be stuck on Saturday with
You
no
guys are,
milk for them or something like that. So,
you guys are
so
very
yeah,
efficient. You guys are
that's
so efficient.
that's my bad thing. But and then there's at let's see, like at Trader Joe's,
Cereal.
they have
So
these like
what kind of
chocolate things.
cereal? Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. Just
No, no, no,
rewind. What
no.
kind of cereal?
Oh man, we've been on a kick. We've been like going around and getting a
Kick.
lot of different ones. Like
Oh yeah,
I bought a
Magic Boon.
I bought a bag of Malto meal knockoff Captain Crunch berries.
Malto.
Yeah.
I remember
Um,
that.
well, because all the other thing is like cereal's just getting like
There's
insane.
yeah, it's like cars. They're
I
all
need like a PhD to figure out if I'm still getting a deal on cereal because like they keep making the box thinner and taller and keep changing the names and keep changing the ounces, and then they hand me like coupons. They're like, hey, for if you buy 5, like you get to the store and it's like if you buy 3 boxes of Cheerios, we will give you $5 back. And you're like, okay. So the boxes are about $5 each. So I can do the math on this pretty quick. And I know I get 1 box if I buy 2. I can kind of hold on to that, but then I'm still buying 2 boxes at $5. So I don't know if that's what I really want to do. So what does that make it down like to like $4 or $5 each? Like $3.50? Am I at $3.50 now? And then I also have this coupon, but it says I have to buy 4. And then I get $1.50 off. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, you know, I'm standing in this aisle, like my fingernails are growing, like as I'm deciding on what to buy here. It's like, and I just get mad, and I just like want to just trash the aisle and just walk away. And then I also know it's like
I noticed my
I'm also
thumbnail
looking at the
grew.
box, and I'm like, which one did I buy last week? You know, did I buy family size or large size or jumbo size or super size? Like, stop it. Just be honest with me. Like,
Yeah,
it's just so difficult.
I feel like the pandemic caused people to like do backflip creative, you know, cutting their Coke with baking powder. Like everything's half
But
kind of
I'll have anything. I'll have like
illusions. Right, yeah.
I tried
Alto meal,
the
Kellogg's, it's no difference.
no. I mean I don't like some of them go a little too crazy. Like I actually don't like cinnamon toast crunch, like the actual cinnamon toast crunch. I like the store brand cinnamon toast crunch. I feel like that actually somehow tastes better. We've been on a Golden Grams kick for a little bit, which has been pretty good.
Golden Grams. That was never like a big one with us. I
the
liked it.
Yeah. Well, they've gone back to the recipe, the original recipe,
Oh,
so
original recipe.
it's pretty good. It's like, Captain Crunch is always,
Captain Crunch was
I'll destroy Captain Crunch.
pretty sure like for over a decade, Crunchberry was my.
You guys had Berry Berry Kicks.
Love Berry Berry Kicks too.
That was
That
huge.
felt less dangerous.
See, like
than
when
Crunch.
growing up, we had like yellow Cheerios and Wheaties, like the original.
Oh, like
Cheerio,
the two blands,
yes,
the two cereal with no like seasoning.
yeah. I think later on maybe we got Kicks. I think Kicks because for some reason on the box they were like, we'll put parent approved, and then parents will somehow know that they've already approved it. Like I don't know what happened there, but like all of a sudden Kicks showed up and they're like, this is good for you. And I'm like, this is nonsense. This is like,
It's like that show. I watched the show Painkiller with Matthew Broderick. It's about the Purdue Pharma thing.
oh, okay. Oh, is
And
that
it's like
different from the Keaton one?
It's the same story, but it's just told, through different eyes. And it's like a little lighter, but it's still good.
Yeah, the Keaton one was pretty deep.
It's pretty fucking dark. Yeah, so it's like not as like, oh Jesus. Even when like it gets close to that, then it'll veer off. But Broderick's pretty great as like the villain. And the woman from Orange is the New Black, she's Crazy Eyes. I don't know if you watched that show. I only watched like season 1.
I think I remember her. Like, yeah, I think I watched season one.
She's in it, and she plays like this district attorney, and she's really good too. I forget why I told you that.
Cereal.
I got tangented by the cast.
Well, we were talking about Kicks or something. Parent approved.
Yeah, I know. And what the hell does that have to do with anything?
I did try the vanilla spice Cheerios because that somehow was on more sale than something
never
else.
heard.
Yeah, they just came out with it. It's like they try out really gross ones. They had like strawberry and banana and stuff like that. I'm like, no. But they had vanilla spice, so I was like, all right. I somehow found a coupon for it, and it was already on sale, so I got it for like $1. I was like, fine. And it's the apple cinnamon without the apple, really. It's like what it tastes like. It tastes like the apple cinnamon Cheerios, but without like the little apple flakes on the thing. So wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. But I don't know. Like for me, it's just like I'll kick into that for like late night. It's like, oh well, I'm still a little hungry, but I don't want a filet mignon, so I'll have some. Like I don't want to crack open the leftovers. Like
this is it. Well, I won't be able to sleep if my stomach is growling. So
yeah,
I better put something in my belly, but it can't be too much.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, it's like basically a dessert.
It
like
is.
on right. I mean, but it's more kind of filling, and you can crunch. It's just so good. Like I don't care. I remember when I went to
it that's good.
When I went to
checks a lot of boxes.
I went to Germany, and they don't eat cereal, or at least the family I was staying with don't eat cereal. And I got in, and I was like,
They're like, we don't deserve it.
They're like, what do you want for breakfast? And like, because their breakfast was like meats, like sausages, and
So
like,
German.
but like, like cold meat plates and cheese.
Oh, like charcuterie?
Yeah, exactly. That's like what's out for breakfast.
Yes.
But like,
Cheese
I don't
in the
know.
morning, it's a little thick.
But I was like, I don't want like spicy meat right now. Like I want
Right. Yeah.
some cereal, and they're like, and they tried to like, they found me like a bag of granola, and then I took the milk and I like poured it, and I remember like the kids are just like staring at me like, oh, like what is he doing? I'm like,
it's good.
It's delicious.
Dude, I do the same thing. Like if it's available, granola, brown sugar, those like grape nut thing, or like not grape nuts, like raisins or like craisins, and then milk. Yeah. Oh, I'll destroy that.
Yeah.
It's delicious. Now
it's so good.
I bought a gallon of milk to make smoothies tonight, and we have this like, it's like mock cocoa pebbles, but it's not, it's like vegan or something. It tastes just like chocolate. I'm gonna destroy.
Well, vegan can.
Yeah, it's
Or
like
well,
that
cocoa
can
butter is
still be
coming from the
sugar.
thing, so it should.
It's like less sugar. It's not vegan. That's not what I meant. It's like
It might be.
it's like healthy or
I
something.
like when things are like labeled vegan, but like you can tell it's like, hey, it's ketchup, it's vegan, or it's like mustard, vegan, and I'm like, yeah, you started that way. I feel like you're cheating. This is like the guy who took Spanish and he was, from Puerto Rico. Like it's like,
It's like
like
your
you're kind
parents have
of
been
cheating the
speaking this your
system.
whole life. Why don't lie to you?
You should at least be in Spanish too. Like you can't just start right in Spanish. Um, that's what it feels like when they're like, hey, like the peanut butter was like carb free, or no, not carb free. What did it say? It said something like, I don't know, I forget, sugar free or something. I'm like, yeah, you started that way. Like that's not cool.
Right, I know. It's like sugar free. Well, why
All
was
these,
there sugar in it?
it must have just been so funny just to have like a free label. Like we could have been putting this on this thing this whole time.
I remember watching this one movie in like the one film class that I actually took at Penn State. And it was about like advertising. I can't remember what it's called because it's so good. It starts off with like the hula hoop and how like,
I know that the Hudsucker
yeah, I was
proxy.
like, I feel like you and I have both watched it.
It
Maybe
was the
Algio.
Hudsucker, right? Hudsucker proxy, right? Yeah.
Algio showed it to us. I don't know. That's such a weird title. I can't believe I don't remember it.
Yeah.
But I also can't believe that I can believe that I
It
forgot.
has like the guy from
Hudsucker proxy. What does that even mean?
I don't know. It's a very confusing title, but it has the guy from like
Cocky title.
Shawshank in it, right?
Tim Robbins,
Tim Robbins, yeah.
not Morgan.
No, well, I don't know. I don't think Morgan's in it. I don't remember who else is in it. The guy gets like hula hoops and then he like works his way up like the corporate
Yeah.
chain until he's like running the company.
And they come up with buy one get one, or
Yes,
someone
yes,
says, like,
that's that movie. Yeah,
this is the
Buy one,
best
get one.
idea since buy one get one free. Because
Yeah,
it's like, oh, it's like it doesn't matter. It's like it's like a trick on a trick.
yeah,
It's like a double scam,
yeah. Or like the
an
like
insurance scam.
I hate that in CVS when you see like buy one get one 20 like 50% off. I'm like,
I
shut
know,
up,
like you just ruined buy one get one now.
shut up.
I don't trust any of them.
So, did you win the billionaire lottery? Wasn't that by you?
No, I mean, yes, it was by me, but I didn't win because I've never played the lottery in my life.
Why?
I just don't want to.
Would you be scared if you won?
No,
See,
I
I
wouldn't be
get
scared, but I'd be like, yeah, I guess I would be scared for sure.
I think it's a pretty scary thing. Like
I want to
anytime,
pretend I'm not, but I'm like, there's no good thing that comes because you're just going to get more attention, and I hate that.
yeah. Well, there might be like ways to keep it quiet, but I'd be more.
Right.
But like, I wouldn't. You would. I feel like you would lose like trust.
Yeah, and you would just have more headaches, more money, more problems.
Right. And then it would be like everything would kind of become sort of about money.
It's like, yeah, it's like everything I'm doing is how much am I spending on here and there. It's like when you asked, you're like, what would you do? I'm like, I would just not worry about money, but I'd still just be me. But it'd be like amazing because I have this unbelievable cushion under me.
Yeah.
Like obviously I wouldn't work, but like other than that, I wouldn't
But
like
you'd have
buy
to do
a whole
something. What
bunch
would
of
you do?
crap. What?
What would you do though?
I would just do this.
Like, well, what would be
I would
like
just do this, and I would like pay to push this all over YouTube so people couldn't avoid it, and they'd have to subscribe, and like the people with money do, like
you could just start a
Schaub,
YouTube. Yeah, you just
Brian Schaub and Brian Callen. They like pay that they pay so that YouTube puts your videos up, even if you're not subscribed or into that kind of thing, and they dumped so much money into it that they got like all these fake subscribers that didn't stay with them because
they're fake.
he's annoying. Yeah.
Well, that doesn't seem like fun. I'd rather have no subscribers than have fake
No,
subscribers.
but see, yeah, but I think we could do that and people would stay. It's just like it's like a game genie just to get your face out there.
Yeah, I think I'd be pretty simple with it. I'd be like, all right, like if I didn't have to work, then I just kind of want to do this around 10
Yeah,
in
right.
the
Yeah, that'd be
morning
perfect.
instead of 9 at night.
Yeah, 10 till like
That would
lunch.
be the only shift.
10 till lunch, And then like if we got real huge, it'd be like, all right, a half hour evening, good night show.
But do you think like you would, just to play pretend here, do you think like you'd like move, or do you think you'd get like a bigger house,
I couldn't move.
or do you think you'd,
I wouldn't move. I wouldn't like pull my kids away from what they're currently living in,
yeah?
because the roots are pretty freaking deep.
Would you ever
Yeah.
tell the kids?
No, no, no.
It's like so tough to like kind of think about something. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's like I don't know, so I'm just gonna say no for now.
yeah,
But it's like something I would have to think for probably for like years. But like right away, no way, because I wouldn't know. Like say I want it right now,
yeah.
I would be like, all right, Heather, that's it for now. For these next seconds,
I feel like I feel like for these next few seconds, yeah.
And then I go, Heather, what are we doing? Who do we tell? And then I listen to her answer, and then I think more.
I feel like it would be tough. I feel like I'd probably tell my immediate family.
Yeah, I guess there's no harm in telling Betty
I
and
think
Joe.
I think I would set up like funds, like anonymous funds, I guess, and then like for
Yeah.
like if I won, like there would be an anonymous. Like, I guess I'm gonna spoil the surprise. Not that I won, but that there would be like like you would just get an anonymous letter and it would say like this will pay for college for the kids,
It'd be an Old West paper.
but you don't have to tell them. Like you don't have to tell them if like you want them to work their way through college or whatever they plan on doing, right? Like
It's just there.
this will be like a thing for them when you think they're ready for it.
Yeah.
But it would be like in their name, so it's not like you wouldn't be able to
definitely.
go just Funko Pop your room, right? Like you would.
Right. It's like even if they decide not to go to college, it's like, well, that's what it's for.
Yeah,
It's like if you don't go, then it's
yeah,
still-
but
it's
it would
still
just be like
sitting
something that's like there. I'd
I
probably
would-
read like some clause, like it would be like that, or it would be like towards a house, but you wouldn't find out until you've actually purchased the house, and then it would just pay for the house for you or something like that. Like I would try to put all these like little Willy Wonka clauses in it, so that it's like you don't really know when you're getting the money. You know, like
Yeah.
you don't know what you have to do to get the money.
You have to achieve greatness. To
But
get,
chances are you have to achieve something, and then all of a sudden it
Yes.
appears, and it's like okay,
yes.
you're doing good things, and it's like, and then there'll just be like a guy in a bow tie who just like hands like with white gloves on that like hands you the check, and it's like you have achieved this level. It'll be like a video game achievement, like but like real life, and I'll just
Dude,
plant them.
that's a good movie. Like person dies, but he left like his millions to 9 relatives, but they have to like naturally like grow as people to get the money.
Yeah,
There's something really cool there,
Oh,
fun
yeah.
there,
Yeah.
something fun there.
like you have to
People
do
just
good.
don't get it. Some
He's-
characters that everybody loves that get every season, they just don't get it.
Yeah, they're like all there around the lawyer, and they're like, all right, like, what do we get from Uncle
Right.
Moneybags or something like that? And it's like it's kind of like Brewster's Millions almost, you know, like
What's that?
that's Gene Wilder and
Oh, love
Richard
Gene.
Pryor.
oh my gosh!
Um,
It's so many movies together.
oh, you should definitely see it. It's so the premise of that kicks it off is that I think it's Richard Pryor's like uncle or somebody passes away, and is like I'm gonna make you like he like I think Richard Pryor's character is like always trying to like cheat people out of money and like always trying to get money or something. like
Con
that.
man.
And then his uncle or somebody dies, and he's like, I'm gonna make you sick of money. He's like,
Ooh.
he's like, I'm gonna give you like something like $10 million, and you need to spend it within like a week or something. But you can't have anything to show for it. So there can't be anything like left over. Like you can't like have a car and then still own a car or
eat it.
something like that. And like there's this accountant, and they're gonna keep track of like everything that you do. And if you do it, at the end of it, you get like 100 million.
Okay.
So like
Wow.
the premise of the movie is like him like running around and
What is it called, Agnew?
I don't even know if Gene Wilder's in it actually. Maybe,
No, no, I'm not gonna watch it. What
I think maybe it's just a Richard Pryor movie.
what is it called?
Brewster's Millions.
Brewster's Millions. I was thinking about going on like you know how they have like Oscar win the Oscar winners, and it's like a list of just the movies that have won Oscars,
Oh yeah,
and just like going through and finding which ones
I like
that I've
that.
never seen. I think Master and Commander is the first one. I think we talked about that already.
Hmm.
But Heat, I've like I think I've seen like part of Heat,
Yeah,
and I was like really young, and I was kind of like I don't even know.
you probably
Looks
shouldn't have.
cool,
I think.
cool
Yeah.
name.
I don't. I've never seen Heat either, but I think that was kind of like in that
I feel like now
late '90s time where we weren't really like allowed to
I
watch
was like
something,
maybe a
nor
little adult.
do we want to fight for it, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of like I feel like a lot of it'll go over my head. I know De Niro, Pacino, but I feel like now I'll appreciate it a lot more.
You know, the other night we watched Casablanca. I had never watched Casablanca.
Wow, that's
that
another
was-
one I watched in that film class at Penn
Oh,
State.
really?
Yeah,
It was
for, you know,
good. I really enjoyed that.
yeah, it was. It was like there were so many of those movies where I was like, my parents weren't alive when they made this. How is it going to be good? And by the end, I was like, unbelievable. You know, like there's a reason why they're still like talked about.
Yeah, it's like
They- They're like fundamentally perfect.
it's just fun, and it's interesting. Like when you see some of them, especially some of the old ones, and they're done well. It's like these just look like people. These look like people today. Like they don't seem like people. Like it looks like people pretending. Well, I mean, I guess it was people like in the 40s pretending to be in the 20s or something like that, right? So
Oh, right, right.
they were already pretending, right?
Pretending.
So it's just kind of
It was
like
different.
even that Gaslight movie was really good with that too. It was like-
Gaslight.
yeah, didn't I talk to you about that? Like, you know, like like everybody says, like, oh, they gaslighted me and they gaslighted me.
Oh,
It's
right,
like,
yeah.
it's from that movie, Gaslight.
Oh, right. Yeah, I know. That's a
a good
funny term. Like
It's a little
that's what I
overused.
picture. Well, you know,
No, it's not like that. It's like in a house
every
like this.
term.
It's like in our house. There used to be gas lights, like there before there was electric, there were gas lights. So
Right.
people would, you know, in each room you would have like a little thing that would like spout gas and you'd light it.
Right.
And so when you lit it in another room, it would dim. In every, like there's only so much of a gas supply to the house.
Oh.
So the gas lighting was that the girl, I'm not spoiling it because you're going to watch it, but
Yeah.
the gas would go down and the girl would say like, oh, the gas is going down. The guy's like, no, you're crazy. The gas isn't going down. She's like, no, every night I see the gas going down.
Oh.
Like somebody's around or somebody's in the house or somebody's lighting another light somewhere that's not like around me. And that's kind of how it comes about.
I thought it was like, you know, from back in the old days when someone would be like,
I have a story to tell you.
and like hold up a gas light, like a lantern, and be like, come with me and I'll tell you a terrible story about this person that you love.
I mean, there's no way that I would know that except for the fact that like
Well, that makes
we still
way
have them
more
in the house. Like if you walk around the house, you'll see the pipe coming out of the like where there was a gas light.
That's really cool, though.
And actually, the chandelier, like if you come over, like
Makes
the
sense.
chandelier in our main room, although it's electric now, like if you run into it, it's a pipe. Like you'll bang your head and it doesn't move. Like you'll crack your head open. Like it's like right at 6 foot too. So it's like right.
It's like
Right
it's
there.
like Home Improvement, the one
Yeah.
walking down the basement.
Yeah,
Ding! Oh,
definitely
son of
banged, definitely banged Ruby's head on it once when she was a baby. But she's turning out for just fine. So,
Oh yeah, I did that once or twice to Hannah.
dude, you got to get a chair at some point,
Oh, I know. Well, you know, 2 hours anyway.
or get one of those
Have been
hemorrhoid
sitting all day.
pillows or something. Yeah. Like one of those like stadium seats.
Those shorts that I texted you about, you were like on vacation.
Wow.
But like, dude, there's zillions of them. It's called
Oh, the short films. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that recliner one previously. Yeah,
the YouTube channel though that like posts them. I forget what it's called.
it started with like an O, didn't it?
It was It was like
Obliterate.
it looked like another word, and then it ended
Omeletto.
differently. Yeah, it looked like omeletto. It's like endless. And dude, one night it was like all of a sudden 3 a.m. I was like, Jesus God, because a lot of them are like time travel, trippy, weird. So be careful. But some of them are really fun and enjoyable.
I'd rather watch like a short film than some of the nonsense. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
that'd be good. Yeah, I once bought like this 48-hour project where it was like a short film collection. It was a competition. There's like short film competitions.
Yeah.
So in the 48-hour project, you had to like concept, film, edit at the end of 48 hours. So like all of the films that they made in it were all completed within 48 hours. So is that us?
Yeah. I was like,
Hi, us.
oh, we're live. That's pretty cool. 48 hours.
One
It's like,
viewer.
I wonder how bad they are.
I did see that the
One
EV
like.
Mux. I was on their town hall today, and they added some features where you can like.
Ooh.
They added an apps and widget feature. They just started with it today, but I gave them a good idea since I don't feel like coding it myself. They're like, "You can code it yourself." I'm like, "Actually, I have a great idea."
You do it.
I'm like, "Can you make a YouTube widgets where I just put in like a YouTube clip, and it pops up on the screen and plays, and I don't have to like crop it or do anything to it. Like just have it ready." And just pull the YouTube clip and play it live so everybody can react to it. And they're like, "Oh my God, like that's a great idea."
Oh my God.
So I was like,
You guys really are.
I just tell them
on
what the
the
next
ground
thing I
floor.
want. Yeah.
He's like, all right, no, you tell them the next thing they need to do. Like, okay, guys, now, like at the end of 5 years, they're going to be like huge. You're going to be like, but I built it. This is
Yeah.
going to be the next Facebook.
You remember
movie.
me? I was there that
Social
first
network.
day. You gave me a discount.
Yeah.
We'll see if the discount continues, because if it doesn't continue, we'll switch over to something else. But we're
Right.
coming up on a year.
I do like it. I do love the.
I'm starting to like it more. I think it functions a lot better than it did on day one.
The
we're
audio to me is pretty big.
We're getting there. Yep.
We're getting there. All right.
right.
Well, don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next week. And two, I mean, I gotta go. All right, brother.